Good afternoon, Upper Sixth. So it's important that we keep up to date with current affairs, and there's an article in the Times today about Beyonce and her independent record label. So it's perfect for this year's research theme, so I couldn't help myself. Even though we put 2 videos up today, well, hey, we may as well do a third. So it fits in nicely with the theme that you put up here, which I think is bullet point 2 or 3, can't remember. And we can see that actually her power of her brand gives her a lot of influence. Unfortunately, not everyone's Beyonce. I've adapted an article from the Times. Those of you that are interested in reading the original one, and to give the author some credit, the QR code down here will take you directly to the Times article. Hope you enjoy it. So here's an adapted version of the article. What you should do is you should pause, you should read the article and think about the question. So what we have, assess the likely impact of Beyonce's Parkwood Entertainment operating independently on the competitiveness of international record labels in the global music industry. So the hook is likely impact, and it's on impact on competitiveness of this record label in the global industry. So we need to think about how her type of independent record label might have an impact on the multinationals. There's loads of information in this case study. You should read it, even if you don't want to do the question. Pause the video, come back and do the 10 marker. Did you pause? I very much doubt it. And you'll see some of the language down here, D to C, we would call that B to C in the business curriculum. Okay, so direct to consumer, business to consumer, same sort of thing. I'm sure if it was in the exam paper, they would change it for you. We can see we've got collaborations with Tiffany & Co. Big power, because that will bring awareness of their customers to Beyonce's market, for example. And she's got lots and lots of power because of who she is. Unfortunately, all those wannabe Beyoncés do not have the power that she has. So this is an important part of this question. So moving on, we know what the hook is. So likely impact of her independent brand on the competitiveness of the multinational record labels, and we're going to use them in context, aren't we? So 10 marker, you could go for the easy option, P in favour, P against, answer the question, justify in context, and we can have a look up here, and it's likely impact, so it could be positive impact, negative impact. Job done, happy, as long as it's balanced. It does not need to have the howevers on the end of it. It's a simple 10 marker. However, if you write quickly and you're on autopilot, then absolutely fine. We are aiming for level 4, not perfection. Remember, we are supported throughout by the context. Context is so important that they mention it twice. We need to talk about the awareness of competing arguments, and we need that supported judgment. And obviously we need to show some understanding at the beginning of our answer and throughout, that we know what we're talking about. The logical chains of argument we're looking for are 3 chains of argument, not that it says that in the standard, but they need to be in context, make sense, and more importantly than anything, comes back to the hook in the question, competitiveness of multinational record labels. Okay, so we're going to start off with a good definition. Hopefully this is a reasonable one. Multinational record labels are large corporations such as Universal Group that operate globally, controlling a significant share of the recorded music revenue, distribution and artists' contracts. So we're defining multinational corporation here from the perspective of a music company. Beyonce's company shows how independent labels can challenge multinational dominance by giving. I've underlined and emboldened connectives. There's more than the ones I've done, but there's a minimum of 3. Full control over their careers. Unlike those signed to Universal, Sony or Warner, she negotiates with Live Nation merchandisers and sets her own ticket prices, bypassing the restrictive label contracts. The article highlights, that's a nice bit of signposting, her power as an interpretation, by the way, stating Ticketmaster does not dictate to Beyonce, Beyonce dictates to Ticketmaster. If more high-profile artists follow this model, major labels risk losing control over the most lucrative performers, reducing their influence. The end of the paragraph comes directly back to competitiveness because they lose control over the most lucrative performers. However, should have put however in there. It should be balanced, but I do like a bit of however. So to improve this paragraph, I would have said, however, despite her independence, Beyonce still relies on Columbia Records, Sony for distribution, proving that, interpretation term, major labels remain essential for global reach. The article notes her massive amount of leverage over all the different ways that money come in, a privilege that most artists lack. Not everyone's Beyonce. For emerging musicians, major labels provide marketing, financial and industry connections, making true independence difficult. While Parkwood challenges the traditional model, it does not eliminate the need for multinational labels. Directly back to the hook about competitiveness. Yep, not everyone's Beyonce. Beyonce's Parkwood Entertainment increases competition for multinational labels by promoting artists independent, but does not significantly weaken the overall market dominance. That's the overall answer for the question. Now, we need to justify in context. Now, we're not going to reinvent reality and say, however, if she was actually signed to a recording company, because she is recorded, she is signed to her own company. So we're not going to try and reinvent the however without statement for this one, but it needs to be in context. While her success challenges traditional label control, major label retains a competitive edge through their global distribution networks, marketing power and the ability to develop new talent. Even Beyonce started somewhere at a record label. Okay, now it's sort of a rework of what's already been said. Even Beyonce started somewhere at a record label. There's an inference about the sort of role and importance, but it doesn't fully justify the answer. So to justify this, we would link it back into competition, and maybe we could just say something like, to justify my answer, I feel that even though Beyonce's Parkwood Entertainment is an interesting example overall in the massive music industry, her independent company does not significantly impact the competitiveness of companies like Universal Music. It's a bit more, it sort of justifies it a bit better, but the answer you see in front of you is at level 4, because that's all we really care about at the end of the day. I think so. Good balance, nice chains of argument, good use of the case study. Does it directly answer the question? Yes, it does. So it sneaks into level 4. Where it is in level 4, it depends on you. I think that that justification could be improved. It's not the best thing ever. And we'll do what examiners do. We'll shove it in the middle of level 4. We're going to give it 8 out of 10, 80% cartwheels. It is basically an A-star essay, hopefully. If you disagree, try and put some comments in the comments on the video, which I've turned off. Have a good day.